Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Static Timing Analysis in VLSI. In last episode, we have seen how STA works so fast with respect to the dynamic timing analysis. In this episode, we will broadly focus on the input-output of STA and the timing calculation of the STA engine. So today's menu is STA in the design flow in ASIC or SOC, STA engine input output at a glance, STA output terminologies, timing expectation versus reality check, what is a timing analysis path, types of path under STA scanner, directed acyclic graph DAG concept and example, maximum and minimum path concept. So without any further delay, let's begin. STA is used only in digital design. There could be pre-layout STA, but the most significant is the post-layout STA. With the help of a flowchart, we will understand the position of STA in the chip design flow. First, we have our design specification, and in this direction the flow will go. Next, we do the RTL coding as per the design specification. Next, we do the verification of the RTL code that we have written. Next goes the synthesis, then the floor planning. Next, power routing. Here we enter in the backend part in the floor planning and power routing stage. Then comes the global placement. Next comes the detailed placement. Next to it comes the clock tree synthesis. Now our flowchart will move on the right hand side with the arrow, and the next step is global and detailed routing. The flowchart will now move upwards. Layout generation or changes. Next comes the DRC and the LVS. At next stage, once the layout is done, we do the parasitic extraction for a DRC and LVS clean layout. Next, when our parasitic extraction is ready, we do the static timing analysis. And do remember guys, this is the backend or post layout static timing analysis. Now at this stage, if we find a violation, then we go back to the place and route stage. If we do not have a violation, then the design is ready for tape out. So from this chart, you can see that static timing analysis appears at a very crucial level, and this is very much important for the tape out. So many times you will see that in many of the books or online literature, this is called as a sign-off process. So sign-off means the design by the designer and the verification team, they are signing it off for the tape-out process. So that's why the static timing analysis is a sign-off process. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. STA engine input output at a glance. In this slide, we will get familiar with all the inputs and outputs of static timing analysis engine. These are very important for your knowledge base. Here we have infographics for you. This is the static timing engine, and you can see its direction goes shorter in the below direction. So above it will be all the inputs and below it will be all the outputs. Our first input is synthesis tech library. So guys, basically this comes from the Foundry and inside the PDK, and this tech library has all the Foundry definition of the gates. Next input is gate level netlist. This is designed by the designer team who are designing it at the pre-layout level, that is in the RTL level. This is basically from the front end part. Next input is SDF. So it contains the delay, and it is also a file extension. So it contains all the designer defined delays. The next input file is design constraints in Tcl. Okay, it is also called a SDC file, and here we give all the timing constraints for the STA engine. Next, we have all the pre-characterized data for all the logic gates in the standard cell library. This is the timing model library, also called the .lib or the Liberty file. So in this, all the pre-characterized data for the entire set of standard cells are there. Next, we have the output. The first output is AT or RAT. AT means arrival time, RAT means required arrival time. We'll see some slides later about this AT and RAT with detail. Next output is report or histogram. So STA engine do a huge amount of text reporting. Also, it gives us the histogram. So we will come what all the types of outputs in this report later on. The last one you can say is the design data. Now, this design data comes through the Tcl interface, and in case you have not seen the first episode of Tcl in this channel, the link is given in the description, so you can go there and see the episode. I have explained there with vivid detail how this type of design data is processed through the STA engine APIs. So here we have the entire picture of what are the state of inputs and what are the outputs of a STA engine. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. STA outputs in detail. We have just seen all the input and output of STA. Now we will discuss about all the types of timing violation that comes in the output report of STA engine. So these are register to register delays, setup time check of all external synchronous inputs, hold time check of synchronous outputs, clock to Q, that is clock to output delay, pin to pin combinational delay, different analysis modes such as best, worst, typical, on-chip variation, that is OCV. The list has not exhausted yet. To continue, here we go. Data to data checks, case analysis, multiple clocks per register, minimum pulse width checks, derived clocks, clock gating checks, netlist editing, report clock timing, clock reconvergence pessimism, worst arrival slew propagation, path based analysis, debugging delay calculation, and many more. So we are done with this particular slide, and this is a kind of exhaustive list what all things we can expect in our text output of the STA engine. So let's move on to the next slide. Timing expectation versus reality check. What we mean? We will discuss about the expectation versus reality check process for STA delay estimation versus verification. The designer designs a circuit keeping some predefined delays as estimation so that the design operate at desired gigahertz speed. In STA, we use a method called directed acyclic graph to serve this purpose. Let us see how. So we have estimated delay by a designer that we are just picking, and we have to compare it with the calculated delay, that is the actual delay coming from the STA engine. To do this, we have to superimpose the two things by some method. This is called directed acyclic graph. Now, this directed acyclic graph is a timing path or a set of timing paths. So this graph is realized on the timing path. We will see how. So this is the concept here. We are done with this particular slide. Timing analysis path. Path means reaching from one point to another point to net by going through logic gates, flip-flop, etc. But there is a catch. Not all such paths are called timing paths. So let us see which paths are called timing paths among all the paths in a design. So here we have a picture of a timing path, and in this picture we start from the left. Our path starts from a clock, goes through a flip-flop which is yellow color. Let me bring my mouse. So here starts from the clock, it goes through a flip-flop, then it crosses the AND gate, then a OR gate, then a MUX, then a XOR gate, and ends up in the data pin of another flip-flop. Any path subject to the timing analysis which start at a source of the clock, ends at the D pin or data pin of a flip-flop. This is called typical timing path. So we are done with this particular slide. Let's move on. Types of path under STA scanner. We have a clear concept of timing path now. We move forward in this slide to get familiarized with 4 types of timing paths that a STA engine considers during its analysis. Here goes our graphics of a chip. Now let me one by one define the 4 types of timing path. First, input to register. You can see the label in the right hand side graphics of the chip. Next is register to register path. Also the label comes up on the right hand side. Next comes the register to the output path. The label is also shown there. And the fourth one is input to output. These are the 4 types of paths. So here let me do a clear demarcation. From here to here is 1, from here to here is 2, from here to here is 3, and from here to here is 4. For rest of our STA series, we will deal with timing violation of these 4 types of timing paths. Remember it. Now, if you focus here, each path has a start point, a end point. There will be a calculated value of the delay. So guys, we'll see in further slides the actual example of such path. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. What is directed acyclic graph? As of now, we are familiar with the timing paths. Now let us superimpose the directed acyclic graph on it. We will use the below graphics for this purpose. So here our graphics is come on the screen. This graphic shows 2 starting point at the extreme left, this, and 1 end point at the extreme right. So this is that point. In between we have multiple logic gates connected as per the design. Here the gates are treated as nodes and nets. These are nets. This is a net, this is a net, this is a net. Nets are treated as links of the graph. So basically when we draw a graph, we constitute a graph with nodes and links. So nodes are here the gate and the links are here the net for this directed acyclic graph. So let me bring up this text. Netlist is represented in form of directed acyclic graph, also known as DAG or DAG. Delay values are associated with nodes, cells and links. That is, nodes are cells and links are nets, as I have shown in the graph. Total path delay is the sum of the path delay values. We'll see in an example. First, all the possible topological paths are extracted. Next, for each path, calculates its delay and compare it with the endpoints values, that is the required values. So this is how our comparing is done. So we are done with this slide. Let's move on to the next slide. Directed acyclic graph example. Let us now take one example to understand the directed acyclic graph. Here goes our graphics, and before that we have AT, which is arrival time, and RAT is required arrival time. These are abbreviation. I give the full expression of them here. Here goes our graphics. This is same as before, but we will add delay to each element now. Let me bring up the delays. So before delay, AT is equal to 2. Here AT is equal to 5. These are the arrival time delays. Here we have 2 inputs. One has 3, another has 1. For this one, we also have 2 inputs. They have 2 and 1. Here we have 3 and 1 for the 2 inputs. And then in the final gate, we have 3 and 2 for the 2 input nodes. Now we define RAT, that is required arrival time, is equal to 10. So now let us calculate the total values. This is how we calculate. 2 plus 2 plus 3 equal to 7. So here is the first one. 2 plus 2 plus 3 is equal to 7. So this is okay because here it is within the RAT range. Okay, what we have specified as RAT, it is within that specific range. The next one we bring up is 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 equal to 9. So 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 is equal to 9. So this is again within the required arrival time. So it is okay. This path is okay. Next we have 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. So this is equal to 10, and this is also okay because it meets the RAT. The next one is 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3. Now here 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3. This path is not okay. The next one is 5 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 8, and this path is okay. So here we have shown the example of a directed acyclic graph, and we have seen how the calculations are done on this graph for the AT or the delays that have been defined and the versus the RAT. So we do the AT versus RAT comparison, and we point out the path which has problem, that is which is not okay for the timing. So we are done with this particular slide and the example. Let's move on. Maximum and minimum path concept. So far we are clear enough with timing path, its representation as directed acyclic graph. Now we will get familiar with the concept of max path and min path. We will take the help of these graphics for our understanding. So I have bring up the graphics. Here you can see from the left what we have. Here we have a flip-flop, then here we have a OR gate, here we have a NAND gate, here we have a NAND, we have a NOT, here we have a OR, here we have a XOR gate, here we have a flip-flop. So here in the graphics we can see that it is highlighted as the minimum path, and here it is the maximum path. Now let me bring up the text. A max path is not the physical maximum length path. So physical length means how much long the path is. It is not like that. It is with respect to the delay. So here it is the maximum path. In red we have written this. This is the maximum path. A minimum path is the path with the smallest delay. So here we can see the minimum path. So here, since in this path most number of gates are there, so it considered as a maximum path, and here we have the least number of gates and the delay, we call this a minimum path. So guys, we are done with this particular slide, and thank you very much for watching this episode. Please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment. If you dislike something, also put it down. Thank you very much and bye.